Today is our capital campaign kickoff event. What does that mean, okay? We're going to try to be very informative. In the weeks to come, we'll try to be very inspirational. But my goal today is to be as informative as possible and to walk you through what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. In our church's history, we have only done this a handful of times. If you're new, understand this is very unusual for us. As a leadership team, we have prayed, we have fasted, we have had 20-something focus groups with many of you in those focus groups. We have researched, we have planned, we have prepared for this moment. The million-dollar question becomes, what is a capital campaign? So simply put, a capital campaign is a campaign to raise additional capital for projects. It is a brief period of time in a church's history where they make a concerted effort to say, here are some projects that we need some funds for that are above and beyond what our budget can handle. Let's all join together and let's go for it and let's see God do something. The number one, if not the number one, the number two story you'll hear from people that have been around for 20 or 30 years will be the capital campaign we did in 2008. And you will have testimonies from people around you that we did this 14, 15 years ago, and man, oh man, it was a mountaintop experience. Ours is very similar. What we're doing this time around is very similar. We're not doing a big one-day cash offering. We are just allowing people to make a pledge over the next 36 months if they want to. We have entitled this campaign, you've seen some of the logo, A+B, above and beyond, which is really the basic premise is, let's at the very least pray about, as a church family, giving above what we normally would give in our levels of generosity so that we as a ministry can go beyond where we've ever gone before as a ministry. So today there are a few growth barriers that we're experiencing that we would love to solve. Our nurseries are packed right now. Right now we boot the 3-year-olds. It's like, happy third birthday, get out of the nursery, because we can't fit them. We've outgrown our office space years ago. Over the last 4 or 5 years, our academy has doubled. We're at the point where we have several different waiting lists on our classes. We have families that are from the community that are raising their hand and saying, I will pay you money to educate my children with a Christian worldview and teach them about God. But we don't have the room. But I want to tell you a little bit about the projects. There's 4 major components that we're looking at to raise funds for. And I'll give you the grand total in a minute. But the 4 major components are, first of all, missions. We feel that there are sizable, significant projects that we could use some capital for. But this year with this capital campaign, why don't we just take the first couple $100,000 and why don't we give that away extra? And why don't we say, Lord, you know we have needs, but we want to trust you even in a campaign like this. The second one is some new construction. There is a new auditorium with about 50% more seating capacity. There is some parking. There's some additional office space. There's also some additional classroom space for our groups and for our academy growth. The third component is debt retirement. Now this is exciting to me. And our premise, some would call this bold, some would even call this crazy. I'm going to call it faith because I'm a pastor. That's what we do. Our premise is, what if we can do the projects with cash and we can pay off our debt at the same time? The fourth component is some renovations and improvements. There's some live stream improvements. We do want to build 2 more nurseries and double our nursery space, which would also have an impact on our academy. There's some renovations in the front of our campus, and then there is a roof that in the next couple of years we know we're going to have to replace. Phil Burr and Tammy, and then Rich and Janet Bowman, they are the co-chairs of our campaign committee. We've put together a committee of members from our church.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Phil Burr, for those who don't know who I am, and my wife Tammy is here with me today, and she teaches here at our academy. We've been going to the church here 17 years, and we were here for the last capital campaign. I was looking at my notes, I thought, when I get a call from the Pittsburgh Symphony who's making a plea for a capital campaign, guess what they don't do? They don't want a personal visit with me, okay? We're going to have a personal visit that allows you to ask questions that you may have as it relates to the campaign. Full disclosure as you enter into this. And for me personally, that's going to engage me a lot more in my personal financial investment. That household visit can be in your home. It can be here at church. It could be at a coffee shop. It can be at a remote location. It can be at a park for all week here. But we would like to have a personal visit with each and every one.
On the church website, harvestbaptist.info, There is a Q&A section with 15 questions and answers. This morning, though, I'd like to go over just three that are the most common questions that we've received so far. Is it really necessary for somebody to come visit me? Well, we think it is. We want to make sure that you know what an important and critical part of the Harvest family that you are. We don't ever want someone to be discouraged from attending our church because the class for their children is overcrowded. They can't find a convenient seat in the auditorium, or the parking spot they need just isn't there. It's time for us to stand on the shoulders of those that went before us 14 years ago, many of whom are still here, for which I'm very thankful, and to take this next step.
We have a surprise for you today, something that we feel is very, very, very exciting. Over the last month, and myself and the steering committee members, we have visited at this point a little over 10% of our church already. We felt that we could not ask you to do something we have not done ourselves. And we wanted to be sure that we had a visit, that we decided that we would pray about it, that we would pledge something. So my wife and I, but our pastors, our deacons, we wanted to be a part of this first. And through that visitation, we've already had 42 pledge cards come in. Let's start at the low end here. Can you three flip over your numbers? Thank you. You guys did a great job. $924. Let's go next. Let's just do this one. We included the comma for you guys, okay? There's $275,000 and $924. So that's fantastic. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's get the next one. Okay, we have a comma. Great. The fact that someone's holding a number here, and spoiler alert, it's not a zero, is a good sign. So we're going to reveal, and we think it's super exciting, out of these 42 pledges, what's already come in. If we could get a drum roll, please, from you guys. Our $1 million number is, go ahead, let's reveal it. $3 million. Woo! And they're excited, so. Thank you, guys. So far today, out of 42 pledges, there's a little over $3 million that's pledged. So our total goal, all in, is north of $11 million. We'd love to explain all the projects and all that they are. We know that that's a big number, but I would remind you that we have a big God, and I would remind you that we did this 14 years ago and saw God work in some unbelievable, incredible ways. So to each and every family that's already been a part and been a pledge and has made up the millions of dollars that are pledged already, thank you. Honestly, I believe that what we do over the next few months here with this capital campaign could set the stage for the next 20 years of ministry.